Hey, what's going on?
King. Don't deny me this embrace. Give your king a big hand.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken, and welcome back to another live stream. I did not expect to be streaming on a Thursday, but as you can see on my screen right now, the developer update for Year 7 and Wild Hoard is about to premiere in 4 minutes. Oh my gosh, it's almost here. And this is going to be an absolutely crazy update. I'm almost certain of it, because if you've been paying attention to the teasers, which I'm sure you have if you've been watching my content, or if you've been paying attention to their X, Twitter, yeah, there have been a bunch of item teasers, such as the new red item, the new yellow item, massive reworks to green items, and basically complete overhaul of every blue item in the game. So this is going to be intense. It looks like this update is mostly going to revolve around two things. The item store coming back, and also, if you scroll down even further on X, there are teasers for the Trials of the Realm coming back, which is also going to be pretty awesome, pretty huge, and I can't wait to see what they've cooked up in terms of changes for that. However, there will also be some other content in this update as well. Obviously, you can see there are some new skins, one which appears to be a Grover skin, and the other which appears to be an Omen skin. We'll see if they add any other skins this update, or if it's just the two, presumably the Event Pass skins. And also there should be some balance this update as well. I'm guessing there'll probably be some casting balance, there'll probably be some Ying balance, and there'll maybe be some Savin balance, considering how they gutted him last patch, or rather the patch before last. Other than that, I mean, they could really take this in any direction. There are a lot of ways they could spice up the game in terms of the balance here. There are some neglected characters we could see get touched, like, I don't know, Rom, Tiberius, who knows? Maybe a Yagroth change just randomly thrown in there? I really have no idea. But yeah, we're 3 minutes out from the developer updates. We're going to watch this, going to react to it basically like it's a live show. They did confirm on Twitter, however, that it's only about 13 minutes long. So it'll be a very short reaction compared to the normal live streams that we've done in years past, which are usually like an hour long. And I'm hoping, I don't actually know, but I'm hoping that they will release the patch notes on their website either when this drops or shortly after the update show is done. Because that's what they usually do when it comes to these live shows, or these update shows, right? And, yeah, it'd be kind of weird for them not to. Yeah, I guess we'll see about that. Hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully we'll be able to see the full update notes and really get to dive into that. Otherwise, this is going to be a very short live stream, and also I will have a live to you in the title. So, yeah, that'll be, that would be kind of awkward, right? But yeah, 2 minutes now. I'm very, very excited. We also, of course, are finally going to see what the true effects of these new items are, because they didn't actually tell us basically any of the effects of these items, but some of them look pretty interesting, especially this one. It's got, very obviously, a picture of a credit, just right smack dab in the middle of the items. So this one is probably going to have something to do with credits, but what it's actually going to do, we don't know, and that's one of the items I'm most curious to see. As well as, yeah, what the heck are they doing with these blue items? Illuminate's gone, apparently. And Resilience is getting, apparently, like, split up. And then Blast Shield's Haven might be coming back in some capacity. Yeah, this is gonna be really wacky, wild, and zany. So, yeah, wow. Are we closing in? Yep, we're closing in 60 seconds. And then we're going to have to wait for the premiere music, because premieres always have like an additional 1.5 minutes before the video actually starts. Gosh dang it, YouTube, why do you like this? Oh yeah, and Guardian stays as garbage as it is too. Yeah, Guardian's not getting changed. They saw the blue item store, right? Illuminate, super useful in niche circumstance. Resilience, super useful. Haven, super useful. Guardian, D tier worst item in the game. And decided, yeah, let's rework every other item except Guardian. Big brain. And it's still just going to scale 10, 20, 30, 300 credits. Ah, it's crap. We did nothing to Guardian. Ha, get pranked. We actually reworked Wrecker. Oh, wouldn't that be funny? But also scary. Oh god. I heard Paladins video game news soon. Yo, welcome, Strixes. How you doing? Yeah, I'm very excited. The premiere will begin shortly. Hold on. How much extra time do we have? Oh, literally 20 seconds left. Okay. Oh boy. Does someone have the inside info? Alright, Strixus, I can tell you for a fact, Willow's getting a drift passive, where she basically gets to drift just like Androxus. As Mr. Paladins, as we revealed yesterday, I know exactly what's coming to the game, and that's exactly what's happening in Season 7. So, yes. Mr. Paladins, tell them. Yes, exactly. Also, 7 is getting 1 charge of grapple removed, which is technically a buff to what's it called? What's the talent name? I forgot. The bad one, the really bad one. Ah, that's loud. 3 minutes? Oh boy. But yeah, that's absolutely what's happening. Yeah, and also we're nerfing burst mode damage again. Actually, we're just removing burst mode outright. Automatic mode is clearly the better fire mode. Duh. EV is getting a slight indirect nerf. Very slight. Uh-oh. You see, it's an indirect nerf, but that probably means it's an indirect nerf to a bunch of other characters, which means my favorite character is still the best in the game, clearly, because Mr. Paladins has dictated so. Chat, do you want to tease our head of the video? Andrew, you know this already. Shh! I don't know anything that's happening here, okay? Shh! 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 Strixus! We have to maintain the illusion that I don't get informed about this ahead of time, okay? Alright. 2 minutes left. Oh my god. Usually when I see a premiere on YouTube, the timer's like 1.5 minutes. Dang. I don't even know what the longest premiere timer you can do is. I forget the last time I've done a premiere. It's probably been over a year. I don't usually do those anymore. Bring back Cauterize. Oh gosh, wouldn't that be crazy? I don't think they're bringing back Cauterize as an item.
Joining this,
if they would,
they
would
this
just
update sparks my interest
use the
in this game
Cauterize
again.
Item picture. They wouldn't draft up a whole new picture, right? Yo, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate that. Hoping this update sparks my interest in the game again. Well, we're basically getting a whole item store overhaul from what it looks like on Twitter, so yeah, definitely interesting to say the least. Hopefully some new build diversity. That's what I'm hoping for. Like new things that'll really spice up what you can do with the characters. That'd be pretty great, you know? But yeah, man, I really don't know what's about to happen here. This is gonna be crazy, I'm sure. 1 minute left. The anticipation is killing me. I'm sorry, I bumped my mic. Oh god. I'm just gonna sip my water. Get ready. Come on. Go faster. Yeah, we got 109 people watching on my stream right now. We've got almost 1,000 watching on Evil Mojo. Paladins Evil Mojo YouTube channel. That's a pretty good ratio, I think. Getting about 1/10 of the overall view count. I'm sure that's going to go up, though. I'm sure I'm going to get dwarfed here in a second. Uh-oh. Remember that awkward time frame where Cauterize was 25, 50, 75? Oh, yeah. If the game ever goes back to 75% Cauterize, especially with the current strength of healers, the game's dead. It's just dead. I'm telling you, the game's dead. It's over. Anyways, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh my god. Ah! Let me full screen it for you. Gotcha. Let me double check the HD settings.
Greetings,
yes.
champions. Welcome to Year 7 and the Wild Hoard update. This year, our goal is to honor Paladin's long and diverse history while evolving what players can expect from the realm going forward. From the return of trials to large-scale item store changes and a whole lot of dragons, let's hop right into it.
Dragons.
Hi all,
Drogo's
it's
balance.
Chamomile,
Yo.
your UI UX designer here at Evil Mojo.
Hi.
Trials is back. After a year on hiatus, now reworked and improved.
Yo, that UI,
we
man.
appreciate players' patience as the team dug in and pushed to truly redefine what a modern version of Trials could look like. From the moment players enter the Trials menu, you'll be met with familiar sights with major changes.
Oh, the quests and Trials are there.
Quests are now included within the Trials menu, allowing you to track all activities from one convenient location.
That's nice.
Swapping over to the Trial-specific tab, you'll see we have remodeled the map and menu to be easier to navigate. There are 8 hubs, 7 of which contain 9 challenges. These challenges have been re-envisioned to make them more freeform and fun to complete, allowing players more room to express themselves.
Alright.
In addition, the ticketing system has been completely removed. Now, whenever a
no
trial hub opens, all of its challenges are available to be progressed and completed at once.
Free flare chests?
No need to specifically unlock. Hey. You'll begin earning progress right away. The remaining hub is a completionist hub, which rewards unique cosmetics
A lot
for
of those
those who
quests
manage
look
to
the
complete
same.
previous challenges and hubs. This means grinding out every new set of trials can lead to more crystals, more rewards, and bragging rights. In addition,
Whoa, Challenger's
trials
treasure
have
chest.
become easier to track at the end of the match,
Ooh.
with the list merged with quests to have a single
What is
clear
that?
view of everything you can do in the realm. We're so excited for players to get their hands on this.
We've also made
That's
some
cool.
significant changes to the event pass starting in Wild Hoard. Passes will now have 36 levels and rewards per pass for the same 400 crystal price.
Who's this guy?
Progression through an event pass is also adjusted to have an XP curve more befitting of the earlier and later rewards.
More levels? That's nice.
Our goal with these changes is to allow for a similar amount of effort while rewarding players.
That's a lot of flare chests in there. That's
This also
good.
leads us to a shift in how we distribute rewards in the event pass, introducing eventful chests. Instead of having
Eventful
cosmetics in a
chests.
specific order, we're introducing special chests of each cosmetic type. These chests will contain the same cosmetics we always award in each new event pass, but now, which you unlock when, is up to the roles. The Eventful Skins chest will contain 4 new skins,
RNG event
2
pass?
versions with 2 color schemes as you become accustomed to. Cosmetics of different types,
Not
such
sure how
as
good or
avatars,
bad of a
sprays,
thing that
and
is.
death cards will also have their own chests. To be clear, these chests
It's so
only contain
Grover?
the rewards
What?
for the current event pass, and players will unlock exactly the number of chests.
Was that
as
a
there are
title?
new
Did I miss
cosmetic
something?
rewards in the pass. This change makes the way you earn new content in Paladins more consistent via chests, and also allows more flexibility in how our event passes reward players. We've also made event pass rewards more generous, including 50 more crystals and 60,000
Yeah,
more
there's a
gold in
lot
each
of
pass.
good stuff.
Speaking
there,
of
looks like.
cosmetics, here's a sneak peek at the upcoming skins.
Who's this guy?
Adventuring across the realm, Grovis Grover is a dragren whose parents encourage him to
Why is
meet
Chamomile
new
the only
people
person who's
and
introduced
explore
himself
his
so
place
far?
in the world. Scavenged axe in hand, he is determined to make a difference in fights he's only begun to discover along his journey. Chaos Grovos, meanwhile, is a version of Grovos that follows down a darker path in pursuit of riches that define a dragon's power.
Why is the skin not being
Speaking
shown?
of power, Flameborn
in-game?
Jace is an adventurer much more experienced in traversing the realm, offering his help to the highest bidder. His skills can seem wasted on such work, but he still has a kind
Interesting.
heart, meaning he will often help out those who cannot
Cryptic
afford.
told me to. Oh.
Frostborn Jace is a
Welcome.
version much more chilled
Well, that's
out
good.
and
I mean,
comfortable in a realm that
I don't know
now
who
has
these other
many
people are. I'm
descendants of
confused.
dragons roaming its surface. Perhaps these two could get along after all.
That's interesting. So
Now,
Grover
onto
Omen skins.
another
Oh my
major
gosh, look
feature
at that
update.
item store.
We've spent most of 2023
Unbound
away
Sentinel
from the
Arcane
Store,
Warding Armor
listening
Plating?
to player feedback and experimenting
Hoard,
with how to both bring
Meditation,
back beloved
Trigger
aspects of
Sense.
the older item store while making
I'm in the
this
way of
next
Bulldozer.
era fresh
It's just
and
Bulldozer.
enjoyable
It's
for
normal.
all
You guys
players.
know what Bulldozer is.
That journey led us to where we are now, as we're making the largest item shop change since Tigron's Tale, by adding 4 additional item options to the store.
That is crazy.
That's right. Each type of item now has been expanded to 5.
That's wild to see. That's so
alongside
many
a
items.
new store look to better display those items. These new items also come with some massive shakeups of the existing lineup, so let's go type by type.
In a 150 health shield
For
for
the
5
defense
seconds.
type, Haven has been split into 2, introducing armor plating and arcane warding, 2 defense items
Wait,
with
why are you clicking
familiar
on
effects in new
resilience
ways.
then? Wait.
Armor plating will protect you against a champion's in-hand weapon, while arcane warding reduces damage taken from abilities. This harkens back to the Blast Shields era, while making the counters clearer
I was kind of
and
right with
effects
my
cleaner.
prediction.
These both scale slightly higher than
Weapons
Haven
versus
to
abilities?
feel
That's
even more
cool.
impactful. Meanwhile, Resilience has been quite a strong buy regardless of composition due to the
Blast Shields is
prevalence of crowd
back.
control
Yeah, kind
effects. We still want these frustrating effects to be counterable, but felt a similar dynamic would make CC feel more engaging, so we're splitting it into 2 new items, Sentinel and Unbound. Sentinel will provide players with a small shield on elimination while also protecting players from slows and knock effects. Unbound, meanwhile,
so buy that
counters
versus Ash.
all the other crowd control effects for those champions that really irk you.
And
Guardian
Unbound is
has
for
also
stuns.
received a
Okay.
significant buff to closely fall behind Record,
Double
allowing teams
effectiveness?
to counterbuy and weigh risks versus rewards. As changes are made to the balance around stealth,
Wait, so that's
this update,
60% now. That's
Illuminate has now been
terrifying.
retired after a long
God.
and infrequently purchased life.
Oh, so
In
that just said the
utility,
base stealth
most
reveal
items
was
are having
doubled.
minor balance adjustments
That was,
based on
like,
the larger
on the screen
item
for, like, 3
economy,
seconds.
with prices coming down for most. However, the new utility item plays with the economy in ways
60%
we've not
Guardian
allowed before.
Torvald, Lord is on help. Oh my
Hoard
god.
is an
I'm
item
scared.
that ramps up over time to
This is the,
challenge players to make smart choices as to
That's a
if
credit
or
item.
when
Gain
to
10
purchase
credits
it,
every 10 seconds.
providing 10 credits
on
in scaling
elimination.
time intervals, as well as a 5 credit per elimination bonus.
So it makes
This
the
means
time
Hoard
interval
can
for the
use
every
to come back from credit
second
deficits
lower,
or
and then
snowball in
increases the credits
strong
you get on
middle
the
games. However, it does take up one of your 4 precious item slots, so be careful not to overinvest and end up weaker in the late game.
That's really cheap,
Healing as an item type has had a very volatile history, and we aim to address that by both adopting community feedback as well as giving some much needed love to our weaker items. Life Rip and Veteran have both been given small price increases, but significant buffs to their effects, as Life Rip is now doubling in strength and Veteran is increasing to 7%.
60%?
Meanwhile, Kill to Heal has been the strongest purchase for many in the type for a while, and we wanted to recraft it into something that made more sense for that. Bloodbath is the new item replacing Kill to Heal, where kills still heal you for the same amount, but eliminations heal you and the ally who got the killing blow. This version is much more expensive at 325
That's the most expensive item in the store,
so
by the
players
way.
will have to truly capitalize on its value. It also does not true heal. You're welcome. This new healing item is a twist on a classic.
You could buy that on support.
Meditation joins as the cheapest option of the type with a focus on healing out of combat. Old veterans may remember, but this new version now heals smaller percentages of max health every 0.25 seconds, emphasizing optimizing
that is old veteran.
Stay out of the fray. Not to be left out, Rejuvenate is receiving another price increase to balance it out with these new additions.
Wow.
Finally, the offense type sees some price reductions of Deft Hands and Wrecker, as well as a brand new version of an aggressive pass option, Trigger Scent. This item enables players to go on kill streaks, providing a damage buff for 5 seconds after elimination. We know this type of item hasn't made a ton of headway in the past, but with the split of Haven and some meta changes, this item feels like one that many can find value in. To accommodate all of this, we are raising the starting credit amount in Siege and similar queues of 500 credits to allow for more flexibility in early purchases. We're so excited to let players experiment and provide feedback on all
only
of these
200
changes.
credits as well.
We hope you all enjoy this next iteration of items.
Some may have noticed us making changes to the loadout screens over the past few updates, and now you get to know one of the reasons why. Paladins is all about its customization, and for a long while we had heard players wanted to bring more builds into games, so we're expanding the amount of slots from 6 to 9. We hope this allows you to bring more loadouts into new modes and have more options on hand for certain compositions.
Welcome to Champion.
3 more loadout slots, though. That's huge. That's awesome.
And I'm here to walk you through the changes we have installed.
Yo, it's Rix. Hey.
This year, our goal is to put out more frequent.
My guy, let's go.
Our first patch of the year focuses on several flank champions, as well as some outliers in other classes. The full list of changes will be online, but let's highlight a few of them now. Let's start with Caspian. Our beloved rogue has indeed been treading till nothing was left, so we are reining him in by reducing his damage and control capabilities. We are doing a partial revert of Caspian's love changes from 6.6, requiring his gun to use 2 ammo again.
That's good.
His rogue's tempo ability is replacing its stun with a slow, and having its damage reduced. Caspian's ultimate, Storm of Blades, is also seeing a slight damage and duration reduction.
Ooh, that's
Finally,
harsh.
Measured
That's
Cadence
heavy.
requires 4 ammo expended to activate again, and It's Got Some Heft will no longer increase War's range. All of these come together with the goal of Caspian having fewer opportunities to be a rose's thorn in everyone's sides. 7, on the other hand, has not been the executioner recently, so we're here to remedy that.
That's harsh.
To start, we're making several changes to his heavy SMG. Burst mode damage is increased to 150 per bullet. Automatic mode damage is increased to 235 per bullet, but is getting its effective range reduced to 70, and it will have heavier damage fall off past that range. Mag dump mode is getting a slight range increase to make it more viable at point blank range. 7 spring loaded talent is getting its cooldown reduction on explosive dodge removed entirely, and we're rebuffing his The Knight card back to 0.4 scaling to compensate. We are also removing the damage penalty, charge penalty, and cooldown adjustment from 7's overcharge talent to allow some of his older playstyles.
It's not a throw anymore!
We are hoping these changes will allow 7 to.
You guys can't torture me with overcharged anymore! Let's go! Let's go!
Our Princess Leon has not commanded presence for a while now, and we wanted to grace her with some changes that would bring her in line with a more modern Paladins. Her base health is being increased to 2150, and her heirloom rifle is gaining both damage and effective range. We've heard concerns around backline damage champions lacking luster,
450
and
damage
this should help
buff?
Leon act as one more successfully in the right compositions. We'll continue to monitor our damage class throughout 2024 and see how we can bring some spice back to this role.
Alright, that's
pretty huge.
A character
who is situationally strong but lacking in consistency is Terminus. We wanted to give him more opportunities to be active in combat and
bozo.
reward him for using different parts of his kit more often. Calamity Blast will now increase Power Siphon's recharge rate by 25% for 4 seconds. Ooh. This effect can stack up to 5 times, potentially giving Terminus a significant uptime increase on his main defensive
125% increase in recharge rate. That is huge.
Took charge with True Healing on her ultimate and shattered the realm.
Holy crap.
We heard player feedback on this and have removed this effect from Illusory Rift, but we still wanted to give it some punch.
Yes.
Instead, Illusory Rift will now cleanse allies and give 1 second of crowd control immunity on activation. Ooh. This means that it does remove anti-healing effects from allies on cast, but you can still reapply anti-healing to players healed by Illusory Rift and have it take effect. We know supports remain a concern for our dedicated players, and we will be taking further looks in subsequent updates.
Thanks for watching.
That's going to be really
Stay
strong
tuned for
too.
more info as the Wild Horde update approaches. PTS will be live sometime next week.
Make her
and we'll have
unkillable
more
now.
info to share about future updates, including the next rank season and more coming in 7.2.
I mean, 1 second of CC immunity is pretty crazy, though. Wow. Okay. Oh, and that's it? Oh, that's it. Okay. Wow. Wow. That is spicy, dude. That is a spicy update. Holy crap. Okay. Wow. We got some very bold balance up in here again. This is crazy. Are the patch notes here? Oh, the patch notes are here too. Let's go. Let's go. All right. And, this is pretty chunky too. Look at that scroll bar. Oh, that is intense. All right. Well, let me bring myself back onto the screen here. We're gonna get ready to video this. As you guys know, I usually turn this into a video. We record these live on stream. Just go over all the balance changes. This will be on YouTube soon in terms of being an actual video, right? We're going to go over this. I'm going to react to it and give my thoughts on how it's going to affect the game, all this balance. This is spicy. And I assume there are also balance changes that we haven't even seen yet, because they usually always leave out a bunch. So there's going to be a lot of fresh, crazy stuff in here. This is going to be insane. All right, let me get the music back on. Background music is important. There we go. And I guess prepare to say hi, YouTube. Because we're about to go crazy. All right. Here we go. I'm just going to do the introduction now. You guys know the drill, okay? Hey, what's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken, and welcome back to another video. We are live on Twitch right now as we record this with the Wild Horde update notes. This is the first update of Year 7 for Paladins. And we just got done reacting to the live update show. Well, not really live update show, it was pre-recorded, but the update show in general, right? And this is so spicy. This is one of the most intense patches we have gotten in terms of shifting up the meta and doing some crazy balance that we have seen in a very long time. This is going to be very, very intense. So stay tuned and get ready, because it's going to be crazy. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to Year 7. We have a lot coming from this update, from the return of Trials to some significant item store changes and the beginnings of a brand new meta. That is for sure. And it's with all that in mind that we are planning to wait to start Season 7 of Ranked until 7.2 in February. This is not a choice we made lightly, but it made sense both to allow us to watch the changes before Season 7. That's a bit of spam. Hello versus Blue. Okay. But yeah, Season 7, I guess, is not starting this patch. That's why it's called Year 7, not Season 7. Because they're waiting one patch to start Ranked. And I think that makes sense, considering the entire item store is getting basically a complete overhaul. Very few items are going to be the same as they were last patch, and it's absolutely crazy. But this means the last the last month of Split 4 of Season 6 will have a quite different experience, but we feel we should let people experiment and test items without worrying about their brand new season rank. So you'll still have, like, 1 or 2 more months maybe, to, I guess, get your rank settled for Season 6. If you have yet to grind to Masters or Grandmasters or whatever to get your border, then, yeah, you can still do that. 7.2 will be here in February, it seems. So, yeah, that's pretty cool, I guess. So yeah, Season 7, a bit of a delayed start, but this update is still chock full of crazy stuff. We have Trials of the Realm returning. It has taken a year of hiatus. We didn't have Trials in Season 6. I miss them. They gave me something to do. They gave me a way to get out of my comfort zone and play champions I don't normally play, and do some silly challenges along the way. So I, for one, very much appreciated Trials. I miss them, and I know a lot of people have missed them as well. But they've done a lot of changes to make Trials better. So they've revisited the Trials UI to simplify and improve how it interacts with other systems in the game. In the video on YouTube, I'll put the picture up of the UI on the screen. For those of us on Twitch, we're just gonna have to wait for the video, I guess. But the UI is pretty sick, and yeah, it's very clean. And you'll also notice quests are now listed within Trials, so they're more integrated, and yeah, you can kind of just see all the progress of all your different stuff going on, which I know is helpful for a lot of players who don't have millions of gold like me and other veterans do, who actually do need to do quests for gold and stuff like that. And yeah, all the hubs should just be way clearer to track now. And in terms of the progression, there are now 8 hubs, 1 completionist, and 7 challenge hubs. The completionist hub is unlocked by completing all the various challenge hubs, and this hub rewards unique rewards for those willing to tackle every trial each refresh. So if you complete everything, you'll get some additional stuff now, is what I'm picking up from this patch note here. And the challenge hubs are sets of challenges players can complete for rewards that unlock weekly, and the key thing about this that's new is you don't have to spend tickets on it anymore. The ticket system is gone. They're just unlocked, period. You don't gotta do anything fancy, you can just get at it. And so this is really good for a lot of players. The ticket system was infamously pretty buggy, and it also led to situations where if you use the ticket on a set of challenges that ended up being too hard, you would just be stuck for the rest of the split, or the rest of the patch, right? And you wouldn't be able to, you know, unlock a new set of trials. And so that was really frustrating for a lot of players. And yeah, I'm glad to see this removed because, yeah, it's kind of pointless. It's nice to have all the challenges available just to do at your own pace and do whenever you want, and that's pretty great. But yeah, in terms of the rewards, you have 3 rewards in each hub split into groups of 3 challenges. On the update video, we got a sneak peek at some of the rewards, and they're mostly similar to how Trials rewards used to function. You have a lot of crystals, you have a lot of gold, you have some chests, I saw a few flare chests, I remember, and yeah, that's pretty cool. It's just free stuff, right? As long as you complete the trials. And there's now a new Challenger Spoils chest, where all the new cosmetics for the current set of trials will now be in an exclusive chest. This chest will be available throughout the hubs, with the number matching the new items available. Every trial set, you can earn every new item through unlocking these chests. So instead of getting a specific spray for a specific set of trials, for example, you would just get a chest and then be able to roll any of the cosmetics from the current set of trials. So it's a bit of RNG. And that's kind of a recurring theme that they've done this patch, is they've put a lot of stuff that was previously like a locked sort of unlock thing where it's do specific action, get specific thing. They've put that into a chest instead. So that's pretty interesting too. And yeah, it'll have 175 crystals apparently. So lots of free crystals for you to get. That's pretty nice. And then in terms of the event pass changes, yeah, like I was just talking about, they have eventful chests now. So instead of having cosmetics in a specific order, we're introducing eventful chests of each cosmetic type. These chests will contain the new cosmetics added to an event pass, but now what you unlock is up to the rolls. So yeah, basically, instead of having the skins locked in a certain order, you can get whichever skin at whichever time. And to me, it seems a bit weird. It seems like kind of an extra step that's not really that much, that's not really that purposeful, you know? It's kind of weird. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe as more event passes come out, we'll start to see if this actually means something more than it does right now, but to me it's just kind of confusing. Either way, there is more to the event pass changes than just that. They now have 36 levels, up from 24 to 30 levels, and more rewards per pass. But the price is staying 400 crystals, so you don't spend more, but you get more from the event pass now. And the progression through the event pass is now on a new XP curve, where early event pass levels will be easier to progress than later levels. And the goal of the change is to keep a similar amount of grind with levels that feel more equivalent to their rewards. So I'm guessing a lot of the more cheap rewards will be at the start of the pass, and a lot of the cooler rewards will be towards the end. But regardless, yeah, event pass getting more stuff in it. 100 crystals up from 50, 160,000 gold up from 100,000, 5 boosters as opposed to 3, And, yeah, more chests. So that's pretty cool. However, to compensate for all these extra crystals, they have reduced the daily login crystals by 50%, which is fair enough. I mean, you can't just give away all these free crystals up here in the trials and the event pass, and still give away the same amount for the daily login. I mean, they have to make money somehow. Crystal sales are basically the only way they do that. I totally understand that. We're still getting a lot of free crystals this update, so that's pretty awesome. Next up, we get to the real meat and potatoes of this update. This is the item store rework. And oh dear God. This is intense. This is so intense. So sit down if you're not already sitting down, and prepare to be blown away, because this is crazy. So the item store selections have increased from 16 to 20. One additional item for each item category. As you've seen on Twitter, I'm sure by now. And we finally get to see what every single one of these items do. The defense category has basically received a complete and utter overhaul. And this is insane. Also, wow, look at this scaling. So, let's start off with Haven here. This is the first one in the list. Haven is split into 2 damage reduction items. This is similar to, but not exactly the same as, it was back in like Season 1, Season 2, if you remember the Haven Blast Shield split, where back in the day, Haven gave you damage reduction to direct damage, something like Victor's Rifle, whereas Blast Shields gave you damage reduction versus area damage, so Victor's Grenade, for example. This new split is a split between in-hand weapons and ability damage. So armor plating will reduce the damage you take from in-hand weapons by up to 24%, and arcane warding will reduce the damage you take from abilities by a whopping 36% if you max it out. That scaling is intense. That's honestly pretty crazy. I forget the cost of this item. It did show it in the update show, but the cost isn't listed here. I believe both of these items were less than 300 credits. I'm pretty sure armor plating was more expensive. I could be misremembering, though. I'll have a picture on the screen for the YouTube video, obviously. Yeah, you guys know the drill. But yeah, this is a new armor or a damage reduction split, and the idea is the scaling should be higher because you're getting damage reduction versus fewer things, so it's more concentrated damage reduction. So, for example, if you're really struggling against someone like, let's say Evie, right? Most of Evie's damage comes from her primary fire, especially if she's playing Wormhole or Over the Moon. So you buy armor plating versus Evie. But let's say you're getting harassed by Betty La Bomba and her Hail Bomb and her Cluster Bomb, and you also have another enemy who does a lot of ability damage. It eludes me, another champion right now off the top of my head. But yeah, if you're taking a lot of ability damage, then you buy Arcane Warding instead. And you actually get more damage reduction for Arcane Warding, but that's because ability damage is less common, so when you do want to buy this, it's a more specific use case, right? But, yeah, that's very, very interesting. The scaling does worry me a little bit, because I don't think even Haven or Blast Shields, back when that was a thing, I don't think either of those scaled this high. I think the highest it might have been was 8%. 12% seems absurd to me. But we'll just have to see how that feels. Obviously, the PTS will be out sometime, either this weekend or next week or something like that. Get on the PTS and test these changes like crazy when they come out, because we got to make sure the scaling is okay. But I do like the idea of adding an armor split back, because, yeah, it makes you think a little bit more about what item you actually want to purchase. It makes it feel less samey. Some matches you want armor plating, some matches you want arcane warding. Some matches you might just buy veteran, because that's still a thing that increases your max health, and that's just more general inoculation. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, I'm glad to see a damage reduction split return. Scaling though, woof. Next up, we've got Resilience, and also Illuminate. Illuminate is gone. I'm sure they'll mention that later on, but yeah, Illuminate is dead. There is no Illuminate anymore. Instead, the passive distance at which you see stealth characters has been increased by double, I think. So, yeah, no more Illuminate. Resilience is split into 2 crowd control reduction items, and these 2 items are basically... Sentinel, I think, is Illuminate now, in terms of if you're coordinating the pictures, right? This is the Illuminate picture, and this one, Unbound, is the Resilience picture. And Sentinel is a very interesting item to me. This allows you to gain a 150 health shield for 5 seconds on elimination, reduce the effectiveness of slows, knockups, and knockbacks by 25%. I assume the shield health also scales, yeah. Basically, this will be what you buy against someone like Ashe, who has a lot of knockbacks, right? If you're struggling with getting knocked off the map on a place like, I don't know, Fish Market, yeah, this is the item you pick up. But also, if you want a form of kill to heal, that's instead kill to shield, especially if you don't really have that many shields on your team and so not many people are buying Wrecker, then Sentinel can also allow you to do that. It's a dual-purpose item, and I find that to be very interesting. Because, yeah, there are situations where you might buy this for the shield, even if there aren't that many slows or knockbacks, or, yeah, you might need to buy this for the knockbacks, and you get a healthy shield on the side. So, yeah, that's very interesting to me. And then, Unbound is basically just still resilience. This only has one effect, and it's reduce the duration of crowd control effects by 25%. Does not include slows, knockups, or knockbacks. So this is basically like stuns, silences, rewinds, etc. All that will be countered by Unbound. So Unbound will still be a very popular item, and is basically resilience. They probably could have even kept the same name, but I imagine they didn't keep the same name because it would confuse people into thinking this also works against knockbacks. Because, you know, the old one did that. But yeah, crowd control also being split into 2 items, just like Haven. And then, we'll talk about Guardian later, I guess, because they didn't include Guardian here. Brilliant. So I guess then, let's move on to utility items. We have one new item in the utility category, and it's Hoard. And this item is very interesting. I do remember the price of this one. It's 150 credits, so one of the cheapest items in the game. And what this does is give you more credits back, so you spend money to make money. You gain 10 credits every 20 seconds, and each tier you buy decreases that timer by 5 seconds. So, I believe at level 3 it would be 10 seconds then? I think? And then, yeah, gain 5 credits on getting elimination, and this also stacks up to 15 at max level. So, yeah, 2 ways you get increased credits. And I imagine if you get a lot of kills, then the extra credit generation will stack up. But who knows how good this is going to be. In my prediction, right, what I predict will happen with this item is, depending on the balance state it's in, it'll either be a must-buy, like overpowered S-tier item, or a D-tier useless item. And I doubt there will be much in between. That's my prediction. It just seems like one of those items that is going to be very dichotomous in its nature of how strong it actually is. Because, yeah, it's one of those weird things where, yeah, you are spending credits, but then you're also gaining credits from this item. And if the rate is too slow or too high, it's either going to be amazing or useless, you know? So, once again, when the PTS comes out, definitely test out this item. There are so many items to test, man. It's insane. Anyways, now onto the healing category. We have one new item in here, and it's Meditation. This is basically Old Veteran. For those of you who remember back in the day, the Veteran used to increase your out-of-combat healing. That's what this new item does. Heal for an additional 2.5% of your max health every 0.25 seconds when out of combat. Pretty straightforward. And yeah, for those of us who remember Old Veteran, then you probably know this item's not going to be too popular. Can already tell you that for a fact. Guarantee. However, it's still very good to have this item, because there are rare situations where it's helpful. If you don't have a healer in casuals, or your healer is trash, or you're playing a character who struggles to get healed by the healer you do have on your team. Case in point, let's say you're trying to flank around with Eevee or Maeve when you've got a Totem Grok on the team, right? You're not going to get healed by that guy too much. It might be better to pick up some meditation and just wait out of combat, heal up real quick. So, there are still use cases for this item. It's going to be one of those niche items, and that's totally okay. I'm still glad to see it back, because, yeah, it was nice to have in those niche circumstances, you know? And, yeah, it is percent based off your max health, so, I suppose there are some circumstances where it could rapidly heal up a tank as well. We'll see. Anyways, now for the final offense item. And out of all the items so far, this one scares me the most. Trigger Scent. Increase your damage dealt by 5% per tier, so up to 15% for 5 seconds after getting an elimination. That's intense. And I also remember the price of this item. This item was a mere 200 credits. So the same price as Life Red, basically. I'm very, very worried about this, because there are a lot of champions who snowball really quickly. And with this item, that snowball will be even more intense. Especially where if you were to pair this item with, I don't know, something like Lethality, maybe? Or how about if you have a Torvald pocket? And you have the we'll talk about Guardian later. It's you'll see why this might be scary when paired with some other combos later when we get back to the item store. Why are the new items so separated from the rest of the item balance? This makes no sense. Anyways, moving on to some general changes. I'll probably group them up in my actual video, right? I'll do the power of editing and just link the two together, okay? Let me try and reset the energy so the loadout decks go with the other stuff. Let me try and think about how to synergize that together. Okay, yeah, bam. Another general balance change that's going to be really nice, or not a balance change. Cut. Another general change that's going to be really, really nice for a lot of people is they're increasing loadout decks from 6 to 9. So now you have more slots for loadouts, 50% more slots. And there are a lot of champions in this game who can really benefit from having a lot of different loadouts. Because, yeah, there are some champions I have like 6 loadouts for. And sometimes, you know, I do champion requests on stream. Sometimes I get a champion request that comes to the loadout request. I need to replace one of my loadouts with the loadout that's requested. And I'm like, man, I don't want to get rid of any of those. If only I had more loadout slots. Now I do have more loadout slots, so that's really going to help me out. But also in general, if you're the type of person who likes to experiment with wacky, zany builds, looking at you, Erlenmeyer, then yeah, you can have more room to breathe with these characters and really try a bunch of zany stuff. Or if you're the type of person who likes to fine-tune decks to specific circumstances, like you have one loadout for a specific map, one loadout for going against a specific counter champion of yours, then you can have more freedom to make those too. This is generally just an amazing thing. So, yeah, happy to see that. And, yeah, there's also the Wild Hoard event pass, taking up, what, 1 paragraph in this entire patch notes? Which means the rest of this is balance and general changes? Goodness gracious. Yeah, the Wild Hoard event pass is, it's got dragon skins in it. It's got a dragon skin for Grover and a dragon skin for Omen. Both are champions who haven't gotten skins in a long time. This is Omen's first skin, and Grover's first skin in years. So, good champion selection for this. The skins themselves, we don't actually have a preview of in the game. Which is weird. When they did the update show, there was no preview of the skin in-game. No visual effects, no sound effects. We only got to see the concept art. So, I can't show you what these skins look like, apart from what you've already seen here. It's weird. I don't get it. But yeah, there you go. Event pass. Yay! Anyways, moving on. To the mode rotations. We've got some new limited time modes. Beyond is coming back. And by Beyond, I mean Siege Beyond from Season 5. Yeah, it's just coming back as a limited time mode. It's not replacing Siege like we were scared of back in the day. Nah, it's just a regular limited time mode, just, you know, just like the rest. And, yeah, you get to try out some old and new items in the Beyond store. I assume... Yeah, both Schisms 1 and 2 are active within the limited time version, so you get to experience both at the same time. That's actually going to be really cool. We never got to experience that back in the day. And I actually kind of liked Schism 2. So, yeah, I'll definitely play this limited time mode a bit. This is one of the more, I guess, in-depth and interesting limited time modes, so cool to see that. Old School is also the second limited time mode of this update. Abyss has always felt like a map out of an older shooter, so let's embrace that. This limited time mode places power-ups all along the TDM map Abyss and allows players to harness powerful effects that make for a truly classic arena shooter experience. And so there's a bunch of new power-ups. Increased credits, increased jump height, increased movement speed, increased cooldown reduction, damage reduction, double weapon damage, infinite ammo. Whoa, that escalated quickly. Okay. And your ultimate power-up, which is the only power-up that we've had up until this point, which gives you your ultimate back. That's cool. We haven't actually seen, really, a power-up game mode in this game, so that's pretty nice. I can't wait to try that out. Cryptic's been cooking, I guess. And then Bazaar is the third limited time mode, and this one's the shortest description here, but is also pretty cool. Earlier in Paladins history, we had a tendency to port older maps to newer modes with varying success. It's been a long while, and we've heard players want more map variety, specifically within Onslaught. So this limited time mode serves to try something new out. Play Bazaar as an Onslaught map in this test limited time mode, and let us know what you think. So, yeah, Bazaar Onslaught. Definitely makes sense considering how large the objective is. But who knows how fun it'll actually be, that's why you have to test it. And you know what? If it is good, maybe they'll just put Bazaar in the Onslaught queue. Wouldn't that be great? I'd be fine with that. I'd also love it if Snowfall Junction would be a proper Onslaught map too. It's so obviously meant to be one. It has a giant circle in the center of the map, but it's only King of the Hill. Why? Well, we'll see. We'll see if we progress towards that. But I guess this is the first step towards doing that, so that's pretty cool. Very interesting limited time modes this time around. Normally I don't pay much attention to them, but these actually seem pretty cool. And now, finally, we get on to the balance. Here's the rest of the item changes. I still don't know why they were so segmented like this. Yeah, we just had to get through a bunch of regular general changes to get to the rest of the item changes. Makes no sense. But yeah, to recap, they removed Haven, they removed Illuminate, they removed Resilience, spread all those out into different items, and in terms of Illuminate, they just put it in base kit, basically doubling the effective range at which you can see invisible champions for all characters now. That's just passive, right? But they also removed Kill to Heal. We'll get to that later. And then, yeah, we got the recap of all the item effects here, the scaling and stuff like that. So we'll just quickly go over the prices. $250 for Arcane Warding, that's the damage reduction from abilities. $275 for Armor Plating, which is damage reduction from weapons. So I was right, the weapons are more expensive. Bloodbath. Okay, this is the new Kill to Heal, which is still technically Kill to Heal. But it's also got a brand new effect, which actually makes this way more interesting. Kills heal you, and eliminations heal you, and the ally who got the kill, for 200, 400, 600. Doesn't say anything about ignoring Cauterize, so I assume this gets affected by Cauterize all the same. But the interesting thing about this is you could buy this as a healer, right? Think about this for a moment. Let's say I'm playing Genos. Genos is infamous for getting some of the most eliminations in the game, because you just slap a mark on somebody that heals them for 13 seconds, and in that entire 13 seconds time period, any kills that they get will give Genos an elimination, because he healed them and so assisted them in getting the kill. With Bloodbath, if Genos himself, right, Genos, were to buy Bloodbath, every time that ally got a kill, they'd get an additional 600 burst. And it'll also give Genos some self-sustain. So this item used to be an item that was basically exclusively run on flanks and DPS. And theoretically it was good on supports because, yeah, they would, get a lot of eliminations. But usually you would favor buying other items first, and so you wouldn't have time to get kill to heal. Now, this is the most expensive item in the store at $325, which is insane. But because of this new effect, this might all of a sudden transition into being an item that the healer buys, which is really interesting. Obviously, gonna have to test that on the PTS. Maybe it's not as good as I'm thinking. And it'll probably be situational depending on the support too, because certain supports get far fewer eliminations than others. Genos would be a prime target to get this on, but who's a support who doesn't get a lot of eliminations? I don't know, maybe Ray. Maybe you wouldn't buy it on Ray. I don't know. So yeah, a very interesting change to Kill to Heal. And yeah, well, rest in peace me buying Morale Boost Kill to Heal at the start of the match on Eevee, right? And yeah, moving on, we have Hoard, which, like I said, 150 credits, and you generate credits. Wait, the scaling earlier was wrong. It said it started at 20 seconds, but this here says it starts at 15. One of these is wrong. Regardless, Hoard does make it so that the higher tier of Hoard you have, the quicker you get those 10 credits. And yeah, the scaling on elimination is correct, so 15 credits on elimination at max level. Oops, I am on it. Yo, welcome, Cryptic. Hello. I point out a mistake, and all of a sudden we got 2 devs join up, like, oh my god! Ah! Oh no! It's 15. Okay, it's 15. Gotcha. Cryptic has confirmed. It is 15. 15, 10, 5. This is the correct scaling right here. Alright, gotcha. Thank you. And And then, yeah, we have Meditation, 175, actually a little bit more expensive than Old Veteran. I remember Old Veteran being 150, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, it heals for up to 7.5% of your max health every 0.25 seconds when out of combat. Sentinel, this is the knockups, knockbacks resistance, right? This is the one you buy versus Ash. And the one that also gives you a shield for 5 seconds on Illumination. This is the one that'll look like Illuminate, right? So picture Illuminate in your mind, the item picture. This is that one. And it gives you a 450 health shield at max. So, price of 225. This is this might be the new kill to heal for flanks, right? Because it's pretty cheap. It doesn't scale as effectively, but it still ignores Cauterize because it's a shield. It's not a heal. And it has that added benefit of reducing slows, knockups, and knockbacks. That's going to be really interesting. Freaking flanks just getting shields now, like crazy. That's going to be wild. This is still such an interesting item to me. I can't wait to test this one out. But yeah, Trigger Scent. Increases damage dealt by 5, 10, 15 for 5 seconds after getting a kill. Price of 200. Very scary. And then Unbound. This is the one with a picture of Resilience. And it does basically what Resilience does. Reduces duration of crowd control effects, such as stuns, and rewinds, and silences, but does not affect slows, knockups, or knockbacks. And it remains the same price of 200. Cool. And now we got some balance changes to the rest of the items. And this is... I'm just going to skip Deft Hands. It's cheaper. Yeah, no one cares. Guardian. This is what I was talking about earlier. Why I was so worried about Trigger Scent. Because Guardian just got its scaling doubled. And it got its price reduced by 50. And it now affects all shields. So that includes shield cards. I believe Cryptic told me that it also affects Sentinel as well. So you could get some nice synergy going there. Holy crap. This is a massive buff to Guardian, and it's terrifying. Let me finally reveal to you the thought I've had ever since seeing this combo of item changes. Buck. Trigger Scent, right? Lethality. Torvald. Guardian. Massive, massive indirect buff to the Torvald Pocketed Buck. That's terrifying. I can already feel the high elo players abusing the crap out of this. And swap out Buck for whoever you want. Swap out Buck for Maeve if you want. Swap out Buck for Eevee if you want. I just know Buck Torvald is particularly oppressive in the right hands, and so that has me scared for that. Also, Deft Hand's cheaper, so you could buy that on Buck, I guess, if you want to, right? If you want to be silly. That's going to be absolutely terrifying, in my opinion. Guardian still gets countered by Wrecker. Wrecker only got a price reduction, so it's cheaper, although still now more expensive than Guardian. But now it's only a difference of 30%. So Guardian instantly just became a lot more savory, especially because it's now also cheaper than Wrecker. And that 60% increase, especially on Torvald. This has me so scared of Torvald, and I love Torvald. I am a Torvald stan. But even I'm scared of this. Like, Torvald's going to be a menace, because this also affects his personal shield, right? So that's a 60% increase to his base health of his shield. He's going to have an absurd amount of HP this update, especially if you run the health card. Oh my god. I'm terrified. This is one of the most important items to test on the PTS. There are so many important items to test, but oof, we gotta check that scaling, make sure it's fine, right? I'm gonna play Buck Torvald at least once. You already know, and oof, it's gonna be insane. But also Life Rip got double the scaling. This one's not nearly as scary, especially because it's also getting a price increase up to 225. But yeah, up to 60% healing from your damage dealt on Life Rip now. Still going to have some of the weaknesses I've mentioned in recent times about lifesteal, right? Where if you're shooting the enemies, they're likely shooting back and applying Cauterize, making it a very unreliable form of sustain. But due to the sheer scaling of this now, it'll be a lot more worthwhile to pick up, especially if your healer is trash. And you're playing a character who has high burst. So, I don't know, you could play Octavia with a Genos Mark. Genos gets kill to heal, right? I don't know if Kill to Heal will be affected by Rejuvenate, by the way. That's actually something I should ask Cryptic. If Cryptic's still in the chat. Are you... hi? It'd be nice to have some clarification on that. But, yeah, no, Life Rip... Yeah, you could pick it up on, like, Octavia, if you have a Genos on your team. Genos could heal you with the new Kill to Heal item, and then you could heal yourself with Life Rip, and since your DPS is so high, you'll get a relatively high amount of healing from that. So that could be a funky way to build for a lot of sustain that we haven't really seen before. Also, bear in mind, the Life Rip item does not have diminishing returns with two specific lifesteal cards. Buck's lifesteal card and Pip's lifesteal card. Why? I don't know. But Buck's lifesteal card also scales up to 60. Pip's scales up to 50%, I think. Meaning now, with both of these characters, you could get over 100% lifesteal. Just floating some ideas out here, you know? Just do with that information what you will. Master Riding got a price decrease. Nimble got a price decrease. Now officially the cheapest item in Paladins history. Only 125 credits. Woof. That's crazy. And Rejuvenate got a price increase from 200 up to 250. Veteran also got its bonus health increase up to 7%, making this very effective now as general survivability. So if you don't want to worry about the DR split, you can just buy Veteran, and yeah, you'll get general inoculation, although bear in mind that does still make you vulnerable to damage over time effects from Sky's Poison Bolts, Tyra's Fire, stuff that scales based on a percentage of your health, right? Percent-based damage. Yeah, Veteran will make you actually take more damage from that, so you still have to keep that in mind. But also a nice price decrease, so a lot of really robust, powerful items in the item shop now. There's so much insane stuff going on, and holy crap, we are going to have to test so much on the PTS. And we're going to have to give so much good feedback. One important thing to keep in mind, right, chat? Don't just start screeching, remove this, remove that, just because you're scared, okay? Try and keep your feedback genuine and constructive, right? Try and actually help out, because it doesn't help anybody to just screech, this is terrible, revert, without giving it a fair shake. So just keep that in mind, please. But yeah, we're going to be busy. Alright. And we also, one last thing about the items before we get to the gameplay balance. The starting credit amount has increased in all game modes from 400 to 500. Except Payload, because Payload has 1,000 starting credits. So, obviously that doesn't affect it. But yeah, that's really nice as well. You're going to be able to buy more at the start of the match. And yeah, with items generally getting cheaper as well, we're going to see a really crazy item store this update. This is really an insane way to shake up the start of the season. And yeah, like I said earlier, the range at which you see the range at which you see targets in stealth has doubled from 15 to 30 inherently, and Illuminate has been removed. So stealth range has basically been standardized now. You can't just buy an item to counter Sky anymore. Very interesting. We'll see how this affects the balance of stealth characters going forward. And now finally, oh boy. We have talked so much about items, we've talked so much about stuff already, but it just keeps going. We've got champion balance. And if you thought the item balance was spicy, wait until you see the champion balance. Oh, dear God. So Caspian up first. Woof. They don't know how to let this guy chill, okay? They overbuffed Caspian to the moon, and they made him overpowered in the Valor's End update. They did some good stuff with him, generally. I like where their heart was at, especially with making the dash carry momentum. That change was genuinely awesome. But yeah, woof. The damage was insane. And now, it looks like they might have gone a bit overboard on nerfing him, just based on my preliminary guesses. There's one change in particular that makes me go, ouch! Oh, poor Caspian, yeesh, woo! Oh! Let's take it from the top here. So, the general max ammo has been reduced from 21 to 20, which shouldn't mean a lot. But, Love, now, costs 2 ammo per shot instead of 1, so they're walking back on that buff a little bit. Considering it used to cost 3, this is still a net gain from where he was pre-Valor's End, but it is still a nerf. He's going to be kind of in the middle now. And then Rogue's Tempo at base kit. This is the change, it's like, ow, poor guy, ooh. Oh, that's gonna hurt. The stun has been removed on Rogue's tempo and replaced with a 1.5 second slow. Basically, Caspian has net shot now as opposed to the stun. But also, ow man, they nerfed the damage from 700 to 450. In my opinion, yeah, okay, if you want to remove the stun, I guess that's cool or whatever, but nerfing the damage that much? Man, ow, that hurts. I don't get why you're nerfing the damage if you're also removing the stun. Personally, that doesn't make sense to me, but we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how it feels on the PTS. Storm of Blades has also gotten a nerf. 800 down to 700 damage per shot. Duration has been decreased from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. So you're going to have to use Storm of Blades faster now, and it'll do a little bit less damage. But considering how insanely impactful this is, in terms of its bursts, that's fair enough, I guess. And also keep in mind, nowhere in these balance changes did it say anything about reverting the fire rate buff. So he's still going to have pretty high DPS. You're just going to have to reload more. And Storm of Blades, yeah, its burst potential is going down a little bit, but you can still whip out a bunch of sword slashes and pistol bullets really, really quickly. Yeah, that's a lot, but it just keeps going. Measured cadence. Ouch. Damage reduced from 400 to 200. Oof. And the ammo cost trigger increased from 2 to 4. Why is the Wellerman playing? Stream elements. Goofy. Yeah, so this talent just got its damage cut in half, and then its uptime also cut in half if you're using the sword, making this, once again, a pistol-centric talent. That's a steep damage nerf. But then just throw even more salt on the wound, it's got some heft. Also got a nerf. Why? I don't know. Erlenmeyer was the only person I saw using this talent. Confused. Yeah, they removed the range bonus from it's got some heft. So the big sword is no longer a big sword. What? I agree, Andrew. Why did you remove Caspian stun? Says Srixis, the QA analyst for Paladins, Evil Mojo Studios. Yeah, I wonder why I did that, Srixis. Yeah. So yeah, wow. Caspian, man. He's a champion who I feel has only either been S tier or D tier, with almost no in between. Last patch, S tier. Woo! Insane damage. Up from D tier where he was previously. And now? I don't know where he's going to end up with this, but I feel like this is insanely harsh, and I feel like he might drop back down to D tier. Or at least, you know, maybe he'll be a little bit better than that. Maybe it'll be more like a C or a B. But that stun removal is huge. And on top of all the damage nerfs, that's insane. Like, wow. That's crazy. Anyways, moving on from Caspian, we have, honestly, some massive W's for Kasumi. So, first of all, this is amazing. Curse no longer grants cursed enemies a reveal on Kasumi. I actually wanted this to be removed after the rework, and I've made my opinion on that very clear throughout the past few months. Because, yeah, with the rework, she's all of a sudden a lot more viable, but she's still shooting herself in the foot by revealing herself to the enemies. The reveal was absolutely necessary at the time when she had free auto-aim, right? And you could just walk around, close your eyes, hold down left click, and still do damage, right? Back when that was the case, yeah, the reveal, okay, that was a good way to try and keep her in check. But ever since she was in the gutter, and especially now after the rework, this change is no longer necessary. It was a temporary fix in the first place, and now it's gone. So, that's good. Especially since she's meant to be a flank as well. Revealing herself as a flank, not a very good idea. But then also, check this out. Body and Soul now increases jump height by 500% for the duration. Woo! Okay. Turning this into even more of a movement ability, all of a sudden Kasumi's now got vertical mobility. For a flank, I think that's awesome. But to compensate, they've also nerfed the damage reduction from 75 to 60%, which is a pretty hefty nerf, but I think that makes sense, especially because that damage reduction makes her really hard to duel, surprisingly. Like, she's surprisingly good at that, or hard to dive as well, especially in the hands of someone who's skilled with Kasumi. I've run into a few players who are actually pretty nasty on her, and that damage reduction is insane, and they're able to make a lot of plays using that, so this is fair enough, I think. And that 500% jump height increase, I think that more than makes up for this, so that's pretty cool. And then they increase the size of pain indicators when hit by Yokai Doll. I'm assuming this is a quality of life change for the people fighting Kasumi, to understand more that they're getting hit by Kasumi. Kind of a weird change. I assume it's good, though. But then Soul Siphon. Increased body and soul duration increased from 0.1 seconds to 0.3 seconds per level. This is the card, obviously, that increases the duration of body and soul. But to compensate, Unfinished Business no longer has that bonus duration of body and soul. So I think, if the math is correct, is this a net... I don't think this is a net buff to the duration of body and soul. It really just feels more like a power shift into the card. So if you want that extra duration, you gotta run the card with this, adding a bit more opportunity cost to Unfinished Business, which Unfinished Business has surprisingly been doing really well ever since the rework, because of that change where you can teleport to your soul instead of your body, right? That change was huge. You've seen people like Kana go absolutely crazy with Unfinished Business, so... yeah, overall, I think all of these Kasumi changes are actually really good. And I'm happy to see it, and we'll definitely play some Kasumi on the PTS, and I'm very excited to try out this jump height change. That seems really, really cool. Anyways, up next we've got Khan. One of the smallest balance changes here. Overpower has an adjusted hitbox to be a small cylinder instead of a beam, so presumably a bit easier to hit. And then they also reduce the range from 180 to 170, correlating to his weapon's effective range, so you can tell if you're actually going to be in range to hit somebody a little bit easier now. Mostly just quality of life. I'm not really sure if it works out to be a buff. It should make him less frustrating. I don't really know. We'll try it out on the PTS. If that delay is still there, then it's still going to trip up a lot of people, that's for sure. You guys know about the delay on the Khan ult, right? But yeah, surprisingly no, like, damage nerf to Khan or anything. Because I know Khan's been at the tip-top of the meta in terms of off-tanks. A lot of people playing Khan, a lot of people prioritizing him, especially on controller. So yeah, this is kind of interesting. I do like quality of life, though, so I'm not really going to complain about that. Moving on, we've got Koga. We've got a very spicy change to his base kit, and then also, they partially walked back the nerf to Adrenaline Junkies, so instead of requiring 160 damage to trigger energy generation, it only requires 120, which, that's good. Still, a net nerf to Adrenaline Junkie from before Aiko's Vault. But, yeah, it's a bit more lenient now. But the major thing here, check this out. Dragon Stance now grants 25% bonus movement speed to Koga while active. And, this is the even bigger change, Hellkite Claws now pierce. So you've got piercing damage on Koga with the claws. This provides a bit of extra utility that you don't normally get with the SMGs, and encourages you to actually switch into that Dragon Stance a bit more if you've got a bunch of junk on the screen. Especially if there aren't shields, but there are a bunch of deployables, you could just shink, 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 and just spam out a bunch of AoE damage, which is very interesting with Koga. Because, yeah, beforehand, like, you know, prior to this change, Dragon Stance did, I think, overall lower damage per second than the SMGs, especially if you were, you know, hitting headshots. So there wasn't really a reason to use it, but now there's a distinct purpose to the claws, besides just switching to them when you run out of ammo. So that's very interesting. Very, very interesting change to him, and it seems like they're trying to encourage him to switch stances a bit more. That's cool. Next up, Leon buffs. Dun dun dun! Leon's getting stronger, oh no! None of these affect her auto-aim, thankfully. They're not buffing Alacrity, they're not buffing Valor, they're not buffing Grace. Instead, they're buffing the Heirloom Rifle by giving it increased damage and effective range, which, in the update video, it didn't look like that damage buff affected her other abilities. So that's why I say it doesn't affect those, which is good, because we don't want to buff the auto-aim. But this is just, yeah, a raw DPS buff to Leon and a raw range buff, making her much more effective. Bear in mind, Precision is a talent that increases your damage by a percentage of your base damage. So this is also going to make Precision a lot more lethal, because the base damage is going up. So you might see more Precision now, and I've already seen a strange, like, weird amount of Precision. I've seen it more than normal, which is weird. So yeah, definitely an interesting idea to maybe try out precision with this new buff. But also, just like Shaolin a few patches ago, Leon is getting a health buff, which I'm actually all for that, because in today's day and age, having 2,000 health on a backliner with no defensive ability whatsoever, and pretty mediocre mobility, let's be real here, that just didn't feel like enough. And now this will help her compete with Shaolin a lot better. Ultimately, all of these buffs will help her compete with Shaolin a lot better, in terms of both Shaolin and Leon share the same niche of countering flanks, countering DPS, being wicked powerful duelists. So, yeah, I think she definitely needed some buffs. She was sort of falling towards the very lower end of damage champions in terms of the win rate. But we do also want to be careful with buffing Leon, because when she is strong, she has the potential to be very annoying to fight. So, once again, pay attention to these, give good feedback, alright? Test it on the PTS, for sure. One final thing to note with Leon before we move on, in regards to the new items. Bear in mind that all of Leon's attacks are considered as weapon attacks, for the purposes of, they apply Cauterize, they apply Life Rip, they apply damage buffs. So new Life Rip, that's going to basically apply to all of her abilities, 60% lifesteal on that auto-aim, on that Eminence, right? And also the new damage buff item, that's going to apply to all of her abilities too. Do with that information what you will. Okay. Anyways, now on to Omen. Poor Omen. So they have adjusted more to be a flat 20% damage increase at all levels, normalizing the damage consistency of this talent, or of this card, excuse me. And instead, what they've done to the scaling is they've made it start at level 1 with minus 10 ammo, and then you basically get ammo per level, so you get that ammo back the higher level you have the card. The wording here is really weird, but that's the general gist of the card, right? I don't know how good this is going to be. The damage is lower than previous more at level 5, so if you were a double barrel shotgun user, you're not going to be super happy, because yeah, 8% scaling per level means 40% at max level. Now 20% is half of that. And yeah, also bear in mind, Umbra Lance is trash, and there's no mention here of fixing Umbra Lance. There's one issue with Umbra Lance that someone pointed out to me, and that I can confirm is very annoying. The talent's meant to be kind of an in-between of your shotgun and your rifle mode, right? The spread is right in the middle. And the fire rate is supposed to be right in the middle too, but it's not. That 30% debuff to your fire rate that makes it slower, that applies to the final ramped up rifle fire rate. So if that 30% applied to the shotgun fire rate, then yeah, it'd be right in the between, right, the rifle and the shotgun. It'd be about here. Because it applies to the rifle's fire rate, that slow brings the fire rate down to here, making it slower than old Umbra Lance and slower than the rifle's fire rates. Meaning Umbra Lance is basically trash. So that talent is still trash, and this card now only applies 20% damage buff. So yeah. It's a good thing I don't play Omen. Poor Omen mains. I feel like that. I don't know how this is gonna feel. This new more card. We'll just have to test it out. Yeah. Anyways, on to Rom. Oh my god. This is the type of robust change that Rom has needed to bring him into a way stronger state in the meta. But also, this is the type of buff that's like, whoa, that's like extra spicy. That's spicier than what I was thinking. I was thinking of like a CC immunity thing on his dash. No. Soul Armor is now completely unaffected by anti-healing. Whew. That's insane. This is a massive buff to Rom's self-sustain. Obviously. You don't need to worry about your positioning nearly as much with Rom, because before, you need to actually hug walls and dip behind a wall to use your Soul Harvest ability to get that 2k health burst uncauterized. You'd have to let the cauterize wear off, right? Now, you just don't care. Walk in the enemy's face. And all those souls you pick up, those are just going to be healing you for the same rate the entire match. That's going to be huge. Rom is back, baby. This is going to be intense. Is this enough to make him instantly meta? I have no idea. We'll have to test that. One note of caution, real quick before we move on. I am kind of worried that this change might make ROM a bit too oppressive for the lower ranks, right? New players are probably going to struggle when they have an 8,000 health demon in their face doing 800 damage per second, and his sustain is not able to be cauterized. Just a thought. We'll see if that actually pans out. I don't know. That's my one word of caution, but otherwise, this change seems insane and like a lot of fun. So I can't wait to play ROM on the PTS. Next up, we have 7. 7 is bouncing back a little bit in terms of his balance from the execution that he received in the Valor's End update. So burst mode damage has been reinstated at 150. This is an absolutely great change. They nerfed his range by a lot on burst mode, and they gutted the damage on it at the same time, and that just was too much for burst mode. Even I was against it, and I'm the president of 7's Hate Club, right? So just to tell you how bad of a change that was. And so the range is still the same on burst mode, but the damage is back up. Excellent. That's great. Automatic mode has gotten a damage buff even further, which I didn't really feel it needed that, but okay, it's only 10 damage. And also, the range has gone down, so effective range from 95 down to 70, and the damage penalty increased from 50 to 70. So you're going to have to be a lot closer range now to use automatic mode to its effective damage, but the effective damage is higher. And then Mag Dump has an effective range increase from 10 to 25. So actually 150% increased range on Mag Dump. That's pretty insane. That's probably going to feel pretty good. So yeah, 7's weapon, overall eating pretty good this patch. But then we've got some more balance changes. A few changes to his cards. Terror, reduced pull strength bonus, again. El Bozo, get wrecked. But the base pull strength bonus has gone from 4 to 5, so I'm guessing at level 1 the card starts at 5 and then ramps up by 3 per level, I believe is what this means. And then the Knight, they've mostly walked back the nerf, taking it from 0.25 seconds cooldown reduction up to 0.4 seconds. It used to be half a second per level, so yeah, we're getting closer to that, and I'm glad to see that, because I also didn't want the Knight to be nerfed. So, yeah, fun fact. For those of you who claim I killed 7 and then didn't watch the 7 manifesto, I actually advised against doing this. I brought it up, and I was like, no, that's probably not a good idea, actually. So, yeah. Anyways, on to some of the spiciest changes for 7 here. We've got 2 challenge changes, right? So, spring-loaded. They've removed the 30% cooldown reduction buff, meaning no more cooldown reduction from this talent. But they increased the range from 25 to 30 to compensate, so spring-loaded ultimately getting nerfed this patch. The massive change that I am so happy to see is to overcharged. No more damage penalty. No more charge reduction penalty. No more cooldown buff, but that's fine, because you're getting a charge of grapple back on overcharged. Finally! This is exactly what I wanted for this talent. I'm so happy to see it. Because if you think about overcharge, right? You're trying to use your grapple to crowd control the enemies, pull them towards you. If you only have 1 charge of grapple, then you're sacrificing your main movement ability for crowd control. It doesn't really work, because most of the time you end up using your grapple for movement, and then you just can't use it for crowd control at that point. But if you use it for crowd control, then you're basically a sitting duck. Didn't flow at all. They added all this in fear of the displacement being too strong, right? So this was like to really clamp down on it. Back when this talent was made and the displacement was taken out of base kit. Because when it was in base kit, like a year ago, something like that, it was ridiculously strong, especially because 7 himself was a lot stronger, and you could run the displacement with a talent like, you know, buffed spring-loaded or buffed tribunal upgrades, right? So now, yeah, it's just, you can't run this at the same time as spring-loaded, you can't run it at the same time as tribunal upgrades. 7 at base is a lot weaker now. Now it makes sense to finally do this to overcharged, and I'm really happy to see it. Instantly, this talent went from F-tier trash to viable. Excellent. Excellent news. So yeah, overall, pretty big W's for 7. Still probably not as strong as he was before the execution, but yeah, he'll be a lot healthier now, thankfully. And you know what's good? When Questionator 7 is hyped in the chat. Oh yeah. Right, moving on, we've got a simple Sky nerf to wrist crossbow. Reduced damage per shot from 130 to 115. Skye is still a controller menace, especially with aim assist. She has no recoil, no spread. You can just nail people with headshots with the crossbow, right? So this makes sense for that. But also it makes sense because they are removing Illuminate and putting it into base kit. But at base kit, 30 units, I don't think is as high as what you could achieve with maxed out Illuminate. So that ends up being an indirect, massive buff to Skye. And my guess is, during playtesting, she was really strong. And so this is also to compensate for that. I think it's fair enough. And yeah, we're going to actually need to make sure Skye still isn't too strong with this new Illuminate change, right? Just got to test it out. Next up to Terminus. Tanks are honestly, in this patch, probably, like, the most balanced class in terms of now, I genuinely think probably every tank is viable. Straight up. Because this Terminus change is huge. On your base Calamity Blasts now, not a card, not a talent, base Calamity Blast. If you deal damage with the Calamity Blast, it will now increase Power Siphon's recharge rate by 25% for 4 seconds. But it stacks up to 5 times, so you can get up to 125% for 4 seconds. That's going to be massive uptime on the Power Siphon now, especially if you run it with cards that A, increase Power Siphon's uptime, B, increase the amount of Calamity charges you can, rack up. So this is going to be a really nice change to Terminus, and you'll notice in this patch, both of the quote-unquote weakest tanks in the game, right, Terminus Rom, have just gotten massive buffs. Yagharoth, she's always been weird. Some people can still make her work, though, so it's not like she's bad, necessarily. And every other tank, for the most part, has been viable. Like, just straight up. Name me a bad tank. Like, tanks are eating good in Season 7. I feel like this is going to make the entire class, like, viable now. Yag's probably going to be the worst tank now, just in terms of normal players. But, like I said, she's just weird. She's a high-skill tank. People somehow manage to make her work. I have no idea how they do it. She's kind of like the Moji of the tank class, honestly. But, yeah, especially when you pair this with, like, the Guardian buff. Yeah, a lot of tanks are going to be insane. Of course, the Guardian buff could also mean that shield tanks all of a sudden become, like, woof, just get a massive power bump. And maybe, in terms of that, relatively, some of these tanks that don't have shields will still be kind of crap. But regardless, I mean, these massive buffs are going to mean that, yeah, you can play Terminus, he's awesome. You can play Rom, he's awesome. All the other tanks have already been awesome for a long time. This is awesome. I love to see it. As someone who enjoys tanks, this is pretty cool. Anyways, moving on. We have a massive nerf to Tyra's Hunting Party. I'm sure a lot of people will be happy to see this, because Hunting Party has been pretty darn oppressive, and it's been boosting Tyra pretty high up in the meta. Like, I'm pretty sure Hunting Party is doing a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to how high Tyra has been ranking in tier lists, and how high her win rate is, how high her pick rate is, and high elo, all that, right? So they removed the additional Hunter's Mark charge that Hunting Party provides. You only have one charge now. They just cut the uptime of this in half. That's a pretty substantial nerf, but the damage increase and the reveal are both still intact, so it's still a potent mark, it's just a lot less uptime now. She's going to feel a lot less oppressive. It's still going to be a helpful tool, but now, yeah, not nearly as strong. This is a very huge nerf, and, yeah. Cool. Happy to see it. Next up, we have Vora. I believe this is the... Nope, not the final change. Hold on. This is, a very spicy change, coming completely out of left field, in my opinion. Damage over time effect has been normalized across all hits to 100 damage, so the light, medium, and heavy attack all do 100 damage over time. And then the burst of all of them have been buffed to compensate. So medium attack up to 300 from 100, light attack up to 200 from 100, heavy attack up to 600 from 450, and they also shortened the medium attack's post-fire delay from 0.75 seconds to 0.6 seconds, meaning you generally do your attack pattern faster now. So Vora is a lot more bursty and a lot less DOT dependent, meaning you're going to die to the DOT a lot less. However, you'll notice there's no mention here of nerfing the duration of the DOT per se. So you still have all the utility of the damage over time, pseudo-revealing enemies, without really the drawback of having to rely on that DOT instead of being able to burst down enemies as a flank. So this is ultimately going to be a buff to Vora, I think. And yeah, I'm very excited to play Vora because I've already been enjoying Vora a lot. And this is probably going to make her feel a lot better to play. So yeah, pretty insane buff for Vora. Just completely out of left field here. This is not how I expected they'd change her, but this is a very interesting change nonetheless. Let me take a drink real quick. My voice is getting very dry. Alright, there we go. Back to the balance. Willow's getting a new balance change here. And it looks like, yeah, it's just a buff to Blast Flower. So they've adjusted the bonus damage per shot from 80 to 100, and they've increased the max stacks of Blast Flower from 3 to 4. So potentially 400 additional damage on your weapon shots now if you ramp it up, giving her more consistent tank pressure. Still going to make her kind of crap versus damage champions because, yeah, the bonus damage will help. But by the time you've ramped up stacks on them, you're usually already dead because they've bursted you quicker. But generally, more consistent tank damage seems pretty nice. And yeah, I'm just kind of sad that, like, it's not a base kit buff, though, because I feel like, you know, Blast Flower is already her most popular talent. And then the other two talents are just, like, kind of crap by comparison. And without a base kit buff, those talents are just going to be even more crap. Because you're still only going to be playing Blast Flower. Because, you know, Scorn, like, you know, if the enemies have a brain, you know, they just won't stand in it. and it can still be helpful for bunker busting, I guess. But, you know, not the most reliable thing, especially versus flanks and damage champions. And then, you know, the Dead Zone talent is a little bit better. But still, this doesn't help that talent out at all. And Willow in general is not a super savory DPS right now. She gets dunked on by most flanks, most DPS. Dead Zone is helpful, but it became a lot less helpful when they made Cauterize a passive. The difference between 90% Cauterize and 100% is not that great. And yeah, while it can be helpful, I guess, in early game to mitigate the effectiveness of double support comps and stuff like that, she still just doesn't bring enough damage to the table at that point. So yeah, she's struggling. I don't think this will help her out too much, but it is still a good buff to see nonetheless for Blast Flower. I just wish, you know, more happened to her base. I'm still holding out for a Drift passive because, you know, she's got massive wings, but she has no passive to allow her to float, kind of like Androx's. Doesn't really make sense to me. And now, I believe this is the final, this is the final balance change. And this is a very spicy change to end off on. Ying has been S tier ever since her massive buffs in Valor's End, and one of the major reasons for that was because her ultimate, which by the way is really spammable, one of the quickest charging ultimates in the support class, this ultimate had a true healing effect, where true healing, you know, even in late game, you would still get a good portion of the healing, because, yeah, well, why not, I guess. Yeah, why not have uncauterizable healing? Why not make everyone unkillable? So yeah, that was pretty intense. They have removed that effect entirely, and given it a new, possibly stronger effect depending on the situation. So on activation, it removes all debuff effects on allies. To clarify, a debuff is not crowd control, right? Crowd control is something like a stun or a silence, right? Something that inhibits your ability to play the game or displaces you, so like a knockback as well. A debuff effect is a status effect, such as Cauterize. That's the main status effect that'll be removed. But also something like Poison Bolts, Hunter's Mark, those debuffs as well, I'm pretty sure will also be removed by this ultimate. So kind of a way to counter those characters, which, yeah, is interesting. And then also, it'll grant 1 second of crowd control immunity on activation to allies. So this will also cleanse those effects such as stuns. You could use a Ying ult, reactively if you're really quick, to counter something like, I don't know, a Saris ult. Pretty cool. That crowd control immunity in particular is going to be really spicy. The thing about the debuffs, though, is, yeah, it'll remove Cauterize, meaning some of the healing is uncauted. But the enemies can instantly reapply that debuff effect, and it looks like there's no grace period, right? So you have 1 second of crowd control immunity. That's a grace period where CC doesn't affect you. That doesn't exist for the debuffs. So, like, if you're getting fired on by Victor, who has a fast fire rate, for example, right? He's just... You activate the ultimate, time to take charge. You get that cauterize immunity for the... What is his fire rate? Like 0.1 seconds? You get CC or cauterize immunity for 0.1 seconds before the next bullet hits you. Brilliant. But yeah, no, it'll still be very helpful. Don't get me wrong. And that CC immunity as well is going to be pretty insane. So Ying, definitely someone to look out for on the PTS and in the next update. Whew, what a spicy set of changes. Goodness gracious. The balance is intense. The item shop is intense. We're getting trials back. This is a huge update. Holy crap. The only thing we're really lacking is skins. We've got the event pass skins. They spent like a paragraph talking about them. Woo. I guess if you like skins, sucks to suck, I guess? I don't know. Ooh, what's this? Look into the future. We know many players have been asking for a roadmap of future updates and plans. And while we aren't quite confident enough to share details, we do want to show our commitment to Paladins and our goals for this year. We intend to update more frequently, with something each month. Ooh, update a month? To play or balance to keep the game fresh. Our general goal for this update and beyond is both keeping that classic Paladins feel, while exploring more of what we can do in the realm to evolve the game. Starting with next update, we'll be kicking off Ranked Season 7, as well as revisiting commendations and some modes we'd love to feature again. If you're someone who wants to have some pretty swag to rock, we'd highly recommend playing during this last split of Season 6, as the frames you can receive are awesome! They would be awesome if I could see the top and the bottom of them! Cryptic! Cryptic! Help! Reload your page? I'll try and reload the page. Let's see. Scroll all the way down. Whoa! Whoa! Okay, those are huge. Okay. Phew. Thank you. Alright. So here we go. These are the new borders for Season 6. We've got the gold border here. Looking pretty clean. Pretty classic, honestly. Although not as, like, embellished as some of the seasons past. But I think it looks pretty clean. Here's the plat border. It's actually kind of nice. We got the diamond border down here. Got some swords. They also... Ooh, by the way, check this out, chat. They added the numbers back. Which, yeah. A lot of the, like, the Season 1 and Season 2 borders, those had numbers, but then they stopped doing numbers in Season 3. And, to me at least, does anyone else feel this way? Like, the Season 4, Season 5 borders, they don't feel like ranked borders. Like, some of them you can hardly tell they're ranked borders. Season 3, too. Like, they don't have the number on them to signify that they're a ranked border, and then they just kind of blend in with some of the other borders in the game that are stylized in a similar way, you know? Kind of weird. I'm glad that the numbers are back, because that helps to properly distinguish it from the other frames. This is a ranked frame for Season 6. You can tell because there's a 6. Also, no swords on the gold border, swords on the plat border, and I assume every other border henceforth. I got a diamond sword, guys! Look at me! Chink! Oh, yeah! Netherite's here now. Oh, crap. Is there a netherite sword? Netherite swords? No? No, okay. No. Yo, the Master's border is looking dope, though. Hold on, we got... Okay, so we upgraded from pretty cool pillars and stuff. This almost feels a bit retro to me in a weird way. I don't know why, this diamond border. But then, yeah. Ooh, we got the drip now, boys. Look at those banners. We got the Magistrate logo up here. That's pretty nice. I think that looks really clean. And then, GM border. This is the one I'm getting. Assuming it doesn't glitch. And, ooh, look at that. Alright, we got the extra, like, drip. Wait. They got rid of the drip on the right side. Aw. And the Paladins covered up the Magistrate drip. Look at that. All the drapes are gone. It's Paladins now. It's blue. They got the purple swords. Hey, cool. Alright. Really clean borders, honestly. Hopefully, they don't break this time. Paladins usually has issues when it comes to distributing the borders properly. Let's hope that doesn't happen. If it doesn't happen, That's pretty cool. I'll definitely rock my GM border. The first GM border I achieved legitimately, because, well, in Season 3 I hit Masters, and I got my Season 3 Masters border at the start of Season 4, just as intended. But then randomly, in the summer of Season 4, goodbye. No Masters border. And then it gave me a Grandmaster border for no reason. I didn't hit Grandmaster, so yeah, illegitimately achieved. And for a while, especially if you go back and look at some of my videos at the time, I was still using the Season 3 Masters border, but I think I even made a specific video about it where I showed it. It said it was locked on my profile, but it also said equipped at the same time. So it was locked and equipped. They physically took the border away from me. So for a while, I was just using a border that I technically didn't have anymore. It's really weird. Hopefully that doesn't happen here. Hopefully everything works smoothly. But that has been the, what is this update called again? Scroll all the way up. That has been the Wild Hoard update. The start of Year 7. Not the start of Season 7, bear in mind. The start of Year 7. And what an update. Trials of the Realm coming back. Massive W. Very spicy balance changes. Like, freaking insanely hot, spicy curry. That's what we're talking about here with these balance changes. Oh, dear God. Insane item store rework. Basically a brand new item store for the most part. The yellow items are basically the only ones that are the same. And I guess the red items too, for the most part. But man, wow, that's going to be insane to test. Definitely going to have to give good feedback, constructive feedback. Remember, chat, constructive feedback on all of these changes. Coming to the realm in Year 7. I keep wanting to say Season 7. I'll probably just end up calling it Season 7 anyways. It's basically Season 7. And, yeah, pretty cool. Limited time modes as well. Tanks are coming back, man. Rom's getting a massive buff. Terminus getting a massive buff. Caspian might be dead again. Seven's getting some buffs. Massive W for Kasumi. Overall, I'm pretty excited to test this stuff. Although at the same time, I do reserve a bit of nervous anticipation. Because, wow. This is extremely bold. And with extremely bold sweeping changes like this, there's a lot of potential that something could go very wrong. And that there'll be some broken combo or some broken item or something like that that'll completely terrorize the game. So we got to make sure to test this thoroughly. But that is going to do it for this video. So yeah, if you guys have enjoyed, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and yeah, also if you want to support me, you can come on over to Twitch here, where we're streaming this right now, and chat's about to say bye to you guys, right? Yeah, you can subscribe, or if you want to buy crystals in anticipation for Year 7 and buying the event pass, right? Then you should do that at my Nexus, nexus.gg/AndrewChicken. We're going to do a brief cut here because I'm going to pull up the Nexus real quick. There we go. I got the Nexus. All right, we did it. We did it. Yes, there we go. So if you go to nexus.gg/AndrewChicken, you can buy, still for some reason, the 2022 Season Pass. I don't get what's up with that, but you can also buy crystals and DLC and mount bundles and all this wonderful stuff, and a portion of the proceeds go to supporting the channel, so I'd really appreciate it if you would check that out. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time. Peace out. Outro. Yeah, let's go. We did it. We recorded the patch notes video, and we covered the patch notes live at the same time. Look at me being productive. That's awesome. What do you guys think of all this, chat? I saw a few reactions in the chat as I covered some of the changes. Yeah, I'm very excited. Nervous anticipation as well, but yeah. What are you guys most scared of? I think Trigger Sense should be nerfed to 7%. What, 7% at max? I'd be cutting it in half. Oof. Maldamba needs 1% heal buff. Ah, yes. Just give Maldamba keywords, big brain. Don't do that. That's a joke, please. I know devs are in the chat. That is not a serious idea. Yeah, it seems like they killed Caspian again. Also, I just noticed there's no bug fixes either, so... I mean, this is a massive update, so it's no surprise that, like, the bug fixes would be few, but I don't even see any. I don't know. I'm still holding out for Amani's dragon fall-off to be removed, because... yeah, that's a bug that's been plaguing her for a while, and honestly, if they fix that... they still gotta also fix the issue where you can't see her health pool while you're using the dragon. But, you know, the fall-off bug I think is more important, because that'll be, like, just a massive buff to the dragon, just in general, honestly. Like, that really would be nice. Bugs will be added to notes post-PTS for any we adjusted. Ah, okay. Brilliant. Thank you, Cryptic. No support balance besides Ying is kind of disappointing. Yeah, that's also a thing, I guess. Yeah, they only adjusted Ying. Yeah. I guess they wanted to let supports rest for a little bit. Keywords are still a thing, though. Man, that's kind of rough. But I guess, you know, it is good that you don't want to do too much at once, right? Keep that in mind. Because if they were to do a complete item store rework, and all of this spicy balance, and remove keywords at the same time, I mean, that's so much to change. Like, A, that's just a lot of work, but B, the implications for the balance of the game are potentially very devastating, because when you change that much, you know, the chance that something goes wrong increases almost exponentially, right? Because all of these different systems engage with each other. So, like, let's say we remove keywords and we change all these items, right? Like, the new support balance for these champions that no longer have keywords, plus new kill to heal, new effects with all these new items, right? They're going to be, like, intermingling at the same time. It's just going to be like, ooh. If something goes wrong, what do we even change? What is the issue here? I don't know. You know? It's a lot. It's a lot. But yeah, I still think most of it's pretty cool. This Ying change is interesting to me. I'm glad that True Healing is removed, because True Healing is like, woo. Yeah, that was really intense on Ying ult, and characters are basically unkillable during that, when you stack all the illusion healing and all of the life exchange healing. So, you can still buy Rejuvenate, it's more expensive now, and no more True Healing. That's a pretty huge hit to the power of the healing, but now, for the first time, I think ever, Ying has proper utility, apart from body blocking with the illusions. So, that's nice, honestly. I think that's really interesting. Yeah, it still has the potential to be very strong. Which, you know, you want ultimates to be strong, but just gotta be sure that it's not too strong, you know? Is there roughly only 1 week of PTS? Yeah, did someone say anything about when the PTS is coming out? Cryptic saying the update will go live later this month, so potentially like 2 weeks, because it's the 11th right now, so that's not a lot of time. It's coming soon. PTS is next week, apparently. Okay. Well, I can't wait to stream that, for sure. After seeing all these changes now, it's going to feel so weird playing before the patch. Yeah. Especially, like, buying items are going to have to be like, wow, I gotta get used to not being able to buy this anymore. My EV items have been disrupted. I normally buy Morale Boost, Kill to Heal. Now I'm just going to buy Morale Boost and then... What's that new blue item called? The one that gives the shields. I'll probably buy that one, just to try it out. But there are other items I could buy too. Maybe the credit item would be good. I don't know. Yeah, is it, where is it? Sentinel. Yeah, Sentinel. That's the one. Roughly the same price as Kill to Heal. A little bit more expensive, but also there's more starting credits, so that's fine. That works out. That's interesting. I mean, yeah, you can... With 500 starting credits, you can basically buy 2 items that are 250. So you could buy Deft Hands Morale Boost now. That's a potential starting combo. Actually, Deft Hands is even cheaper now. I forgot about that. You could buy Guardian and Morale Boost now at the same time, because Guardian is 250 now. And Guardian scales crazy strong now. Whew, that's crazy. Yo, hey, what's up, Tardan? What's your opinion on Khan? It seems just like a small, like, quality of life change. I'm not sure if it'll be, like, some insane buff. We'll just have to see. I don't know. It is kind of interesting that there's no nerf, but, another thing, I guess, that, like, makes sense to me now that I think about it is, like, there wouldn't be a lot of tank balance apart from, you know, buffing the 2, like, really low-tier tanks, right? Rom and Terminus. Because of this Guardian buff, right? So you don't want to, like, really change those tanks too much just because you want to see how they perform with all these new changes, right? Just take it a bit slowly. But, Yeah, it would not shock me if we go onto the PTS and realize that Guardian is all of a sudden OP with, like, Torvald. So maybe, like, Torvald gets nerfed in some way, or maybe we walk back the scaling a little bit. Or maybe it'll be just fine, and I'm fear-mongering, and I'm just scared reading this on paper. I have no idea. I can't stand him anymore. He is too dominant. Feels like Tyra with 4k HP. I do feel that. Like, the damage is very insane. Especially when you plug in that roller and you get those headshots. Ooh. Thoughts on new healing effects with Koga's self-sustain? Oh yeah, I guess you could, oh! Yeah, right, because Life Rip is 60% now, and then Koga has that card that increases healing on SMGs. That's a spicy combo, I didn't think of that. There are going to be so many new combos that you can do now with these new items. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what people come up with. Which, my mind goes to the immediately most broken thing I can think of, which is, like I said, Buck, Trigger Scent, Lethality, Torvald, Guardian. Bam, slam it together. And then get a Genos with the new, what's it called? Bloodbath. It kill to heal, basically, right? Where Genos just puts a mark on you, and then he gets Bloodbath, and so he's the one who now buys the kill to heal, but then that'll make it so that every time you get an elimination with the Genos mark on you, Genos bursts you for an additional 600, because he got an elimination off that. So just slam the three of those together. That's gonna be, like, absurd. Also, yeah, Azan will be a menace. I mean, they buffed Veteran to 7%. That'll scale well with his DR passive without diminishing returns, or even with diminishing returns, these two forms of DR are still going to be pretty powerful. We're going to have a lot of really strong stuff in the game this next patch, I feel. Which it already kind of felt that way, because you have all this stuff that's really strong when you plug in the roller, have the aim assist, you know, those hit scans with high DPS just ding, 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 right? And then you also have the really strong stuff on keyboard. And then most of the tanks are good. Now, with these changes, I feel like all of the tanks are going to be some level of viable. Like, there won't be a single bad tank in the game, which has me very excited. Then you have all these ridiculously strong supports. Like, woof. And then the new items are just like, all of these are really impactful. This is going to be insane. What is this background track? Go away. Ew. Yago and the new healing item. Oh, yeah. It's kind of funny. Yagoroth still existed, I think, with the old Veteran for a patch. I could be misremembering. I'm pretty sure that existed, though. And now old Veteran is back, but now she can buy new Veteran and old Veteran at the same time. So 21% additional health from new Veteran, right? 7%. Plus 7.5% max health healed every quarter of a second when out of combat. That's actually a lot. I didn't realize that was every quarter second. That's a lot higher scaling than old Veteran, I'm pretty sure. That's interesting. And you know, since Yagoroth kind of has that playstyle where sometimes you just want to, like, run into the back line and take a chill pill for a second just to get out of dodge, right? Like, go for a drive-by, just, you know, plow through the enemies and then run away. That Veteran will heal you up really quickly when you're out of combat. I almost want to draw a parallel between Wrecking Ball picking up health packs in the enemy team's backline, and then Yagoroth with new meditation. It kind of feels like there's a similar dynamic going on there. Which, yeah. One of the only similar things they share, but I guess that's probably the most adept comparison I can make. How many devs are on the team? Currently can't be many. I know Evil Mojo is a relatively small, cozy team of devs. Yeah. Well, you can look at the credits. There's like... I want to say there's about 30? Is that right? Like, in the credits right now, currently? Something like that. It's got to be close. This is a lot of changes for a very small team, though. I mean... I thought I heard earlier that, like, they have one UI person, and that's Cam. And... she did all of this UI stuff for the Trials of the Realm this update. So, yeah. Me! Hey, she's still here. Welcome! Nice. Yeah. This is a pretty impressive patch. There's a lot of work here done, for sure. Regardless of how good or bad the balance ends up shaking up to be. Yeah, this is still pretty cool. Is the health shield affected by Cauterize? The health shield. What do you mean by that? Are you talking about the new blue item, which is Sentinel? This is a shield, so no, it's not, because, yeah, it's a shield. But it would be affected by Wrecker, and it's also affected by Guardian. Yagoroth health with Vet, 6,900, nice. And regen with meditation per second equals 521 a second out of combat healing. Wow. That's not bad for just self-imbued healing. Like, not coming from a healer, that's pretty insane. Just making the, what's it called? The point talent, Unnatural Persistence, even more useless. Yeah. This is something I think players don't always realize. We are very much a nimble, indie-style team nowadays, so patches reflect that new outlook and what we feel makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I know you've been trying to rebrand as an indie studio for a while. It certainly feels that way, in many aspects. If you don't make a video on Buffed ROM with Doom original soundtrack, I'm unsubbing. Oh yeah. I could do like an intro segment at the beginning of some epic play I get throughout the video and just crank the Doom soundtrack. That's gonna be so fun. That was like a guilty pleasure of mine with ROM, is just every now and then I just pick up ROM, turn on the Doom music, and just... But I only do that for one match because ROM sucks. He gets bullied by so many things. But with this change now, it'll be a lot more fun to do that. Yeah, I got a lot of guide videos to do in Season 7. I'm glad I waited, too. I genuinely did not expect the Vora change. Like, I know haha funny Paladins partner, haha funny Mr. Paladins knows all of the secrets, but no, being genuine for a moment, I had no idea this was coming, and it seems completely out of left field to me, this particular change. And Vora was the person who won the poll I did, asking people for, like, what guide they wanted first. So... yeah, I was right on the money with that. Making sure I waited, because, yeah, wow, look at this. It probably won't change much in terms of the guide. But, yeah, that's, you know, still, it's always good to wait, you know? Plus the new items. Like, with the whole new item change, that affects every single champion in the game. So we're going to have to figure out what items are good on which champions now, and in which circumstances now. And that's something that definitely makes sense to wait for. Something I also... might end up doing first, before the champion guides, is just a general item store guide, because I need to update my, you know, items tutorial, because, duh, yeah, it's a completely brand new item store. Especially because also, right, like, this is a thing, and my item guide is on here, and so it's probably prudent of me to update it. Does this not work? Oh, that works. Why does the item not work? Huh. Yeah, it's somewhere down here. Somewhere down here. Somewhere down here. It's probably all the way back here. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, I'll probably need to update that. Yeah. Hey. New item tier list based on anticipation only. Vibes-based tier list. Yeah, that's how we do it. That's the most professional way to do it, clearly. Yeah, I'm going to make a new items tier list as well, which I'm also glad I made the pre-existing items tier list, because, yeah, that's a reference point for, you know, the state of the item store right before this change. That'll be cool to look back on in, you know, a few months, a few years, whatever. Most of us work from home. I knew Cryptic worked from home, I'm pretty sure. I didn't know most of the team did that, though. That's pretty interesting. Very little Paladins in office. Still very much a work-from-home environment. Even though it's, I guess, not exactly that necessary these days. That's cool. That's very interesting. I work from home, too. Hey! Woo! Several of us live in Georgia. Yeah, I guess for those that don't, though, it makes sense. Definitely. And our office is Discord. Ah. Nice. Working from home and still serving us good content. Yeah. It can definitely work. I think it makes sense for, like, certain aspects of, like, certain types of companies. Not every company can do it, but, you know. A gaming company? Yeah, that's one of the ones that I would say, yeah, it's a lot more reasonable to do that. All right. Well, I think we're just about to hit the 2-hour mark now. It's probably a good time to maybe wrap things up. Because, yeah, we went over this, and we went over all the patch notes. We got the video recorded. I got to go edit all that now, so that's going to be a whole ordeal. And, yeah, get that ready for tomorrow's release. That's going to be insane. So, yeah, like I said in the outro of the YouTube video, if you guys have enjoyed, make sure to follow me here on Twitch. We will definitely be streaming the PTS once it comes out, because, oh boy, there's so much to test. We're probably going to be on the PTS for, like, multiple days testing things, for sure. And, yeah, also when the new patch drops, even more content then. Like I was just talking about, we got guides coming up on the YouTube channel once the new patch drops. Or rather, after the patch drops. I gotta make the guides first after I figure out how the item store works. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And if you want to support me, like I said earlier, go to the Nexus, nexus.gg/AndrewChicken. You can buy crystals here, DLC, mount packs, the season pass, all this wonderful stuff, and a portion of the proceeds go directly to me. And as the Evil Mojo devs will attest to, Nexus is, yeah, an official thing. Yeah, Evil Mojo does this. They're collabed with these guys. It's awesome. It's very cool, and you should definitely check it out. And yeah, also you can subscribe here on Twitch. You get to watch ad-free. You also get some exclusive stuff on the Discord server, which is very, very nice. And yeah, it's a good way to support the channel. With all that being said, let's go find somebody to raid now. Who can we raid? Z1 Unknown is here twice. That's brilliant. Let me refresh just to make sure. Wow, he's still twice. Okay, that's that's brilliant. Well, let's raid him back. He raided me yesterday. It looks like he's going over the update too. We'll get to see what he thinks about it. So, yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Peace out. In 4, 3, 2. I did it early. All right, there we go. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all next time. Peace out.